feel like you have tons of content ideas but never actually execute them? It's not because you're lazy, it's because you don't have a system that turns ideas into actions. That's exactly why I created my Maximize My Day system inside of Apple Reminders. And today, I'm going to show you how to set it up so you can finally stay consistent without overwhelm. Okay, so I have a framework that I usually follow with regards to my content. This helps me to stay organized, but more importantly, it's a structure that I have tested and I've also used with clients inside of the Creative Flow Kit. Three things that you need to remember in order to keep your content organized and so you don't feel overwhelmed is first capturing. How do you actually capture your ideas? For different creators, capturing ideas might be through voice memos, it might be through Notion, it might be through your notes app. You may have different ways you scribble or you curate your notes in different spaces. One of the things that I would recommend for you to do is ensure that you have a space designed to curate your content ideas and also have it organized through lists, through categories, on whichever space you're using, you're able to easily find your content ideas without feeling overwhelmed or being bombarded with a ton of ideas in front of you when you can have it streamlined and also organized in a way that makes it less overwhelming for you when you see all your content ideas. The first thing I want you to do is think about how you are going to capture everything out of your head. And this is a common problem for most creators where they store everything everywhere and not having a single place where you store information. For example, I use GoodNotes to land all of my content ideas. I also use Notion to have, and I created a space in Notion called my content inbox, which captures details from my iPhone, but also I have a dedicated space for content ideas and I have categorized it, right? And if you notice here, I have a content idea bank, and this is where I list out all of my content ideas. This is a great way for me to stay organized. And once I have published a specific piece of content, then I can simply tick it off that I have done so. This is how I stay organized with my content and curating or capturing my content. There are 2 or 3 ways that I usually do it. I do it either in Notion or I use GoodNotes. And if possible, I use Apple Freeform to capture that content. The next thing I want you to do is to create a single list inside of Apple Reminders, and I have done this through the Maximize My Day. Maximize My Day is my way of actually creating order and having an execution system using Apple Reminders. Right? And because I have multiple Apple devices that are connected to the one Apple ID, I have found that it's easy for me to just create the list that's in iCloud and make it accessible across all devices. So I'm going to go into my Apple Reminders. And if you notice on the left-hand side here, I do have my Maximize My Day, and I also have some other smart lists. By default, when you open Apple Reminders, you may see all reminders. You might see recently deleted, and then if you, depending on how it is, you either have what is due today, what is scheduled, your reminders flagged and complete, right? Now, the other thing that you're going to think about when it comes to creating your list is ensuring that when you're creating that structure inside of Apple Reminders, this is where the organization part of your content actually steps in. Structuring your day for execution. You can have great ideas, you can have great plans, but if you do not execute on those ideas and plans, they're just sitting there and you're wasting your time and you're more overwhelmed and burned out because you have a ton of things to do. So if you have to create multiple lists that is focused inside of Apple Reminders, you can do so. So let's go ahead and start creating our structure inside of Apple Reminders. So to the bottom left here, I'm going to click on add list. And I'm going to choose iCloud. Okay, so I can create an entire new list, or I can choose a template because I have saved my maximize my day template, all right? So I'm going to actually create a new one. So I'm going to call this max my day out. All right, and here we're going to move this. We're going to leave it at standard. We're going to choose a color, and maybe we can choose star, for example, and I'm going to tap on done. So max my day out. This is going to be the main area where I'm going to be executing all of it. So this is going to be my single list, and then I am going to actually create the structure. So I want to have 3 sections. I want to have my non-negotiables. I want to have my content priorities. And then I want to have another section called life and admin. All right. To the top right, you're going to click on the 3 dots, and then we're going to say new section. All right, and we're gonna call this section, I'm gonna just close this out so we can see. All right, so this new section, I'm gonna call this my non-negotiable section. All right, so my non-negotiables, I can call this non-negotiables. This can be like my top 3 priorities, or my top 4 or 5 priorities for the day or for that week, based on the type of business or how you are able to stay focused. If you're able to do 5 things within a given day, or 3 main things within a given day, those will be your non-negotiables. So basically the essential task that needs to be completed within a specific time frame, that is your non-negotiables. All right, I'm going to tap on done. Then I'm going to go back to those 3 dots. I'm going to hit on manage sections, and then I'm going to select new section, and I'm going to call this new section my content priorities. All right, I'm going to hit on done. Then I'm going to create another section, new section, and I'm going to call this section life and admin. All right, so I want to separate the 2. So I'm going to call this life, and then I'm going to create another section. I'm going to call this admin. All right, and then I will create another section. I'm going to call this completed. All right. Now, by default, when you set up your day for execution, this is the layout that you will see. And so you definitely have to customize this layout so that you're able to have it in a column format. Now, to do this, you're going to click back on the 3 dots to the top right, and then you're going to select view as columns. When you tap on view as columns, it's going to look similar to my maximize my day in this column format. All right, I have my columns. I have my non-negotiable section. I have my current priorities. I have life. I have admin, and I have completed. Now I want admin to be before life, so I'm going to go back up to the top right. I'm going to hit manage, and I'm going to choose edit columns. And what I'm going to do at this point is click and drag admin above life. And then I'm going to click on done. This is how I would set up the sections so I'm able to organize my tasks effectively. And so not everything is in one jumble list. Structure and organization is key in order for you to execute on your ideas and your plans. Now, here is the problem. I have found that taking action needs a little more push, and so automating execution is going to be very important for you as a creative. This is why it's important for you to utilize the reminders option. That is a form of automation inside of Apple Reminders. So once you have set up this structure, the next thing we are going to do, let's say that we add a few things inside of each of these categories. All right. Now, when it comes to my non-negotiables and content priorities, you can actually set time-sensitive reminders inside of Apple Reminders, and it will show up on your calendar. Again, if it's not showing up on your calendar, or if you're not adding reminders and automation, you're going to find that you are not going to execute. It will be there as a list, but if you're not checking it off at the end of the day or at the time which it was supposed to be executed, you're going to find that you're going to lag behind with your task. So as a good practice, when you're setting up your individual tasks, what I want you to do, you're going to tap, go into the eye, and this is where you can add your additional notes. You can add your notes relating to that specific task. Then I'm going to turn on the date. I'm going to say, okay, this is something that I need to prioritize today, or maybe on Tuesday at a specific time. Maybe it would be at 8 a.m. tomorrow. Now I can also say, please remind me. So I can say, remind me 1 hour before. And the automation is where you can say that this particular task needs to be repeated. I'm going to show you that later on. You can also add a tag if this is business related, if it is life related, if it's personal, you can create tags. And you can also set the priority. So with the priority, you can see if it's high, medium, or low. In this case, because it's a non-negotiable, I'm going to set it to high. And I can also add my sub items. So that sub items maybe is to review my QuickBooks records. All right. That might be a subtask in order for me to complete this. It might be for me to run my accounting reports because I need to submit this detail. So once I have put in the subtask, I'm going to go back to details and I'm going to hit on done. And notice it has a timestamp and it has these 3 exclamation marks, and it's indicating to me that this is a high priority. Now, if I switch over to my calendar, notice that I have a ton going on in my calendar. All right. But if you notice that this is actually appearing here in my calendar as well. So if I go to show in reminders, it's going to actually open up in reminders. This is a great way for you to stay accountable and making sure that you get your tasks done. Now, here was the thing I love about setting the reminders is that Apple is annoying with the reminders in a good way because it will always stay on any device and it will constantly stay there until you go in and you check off that you have completed your task. The other thing, let's say you have a task that you have to do every single day. Let's say, for example, you need to keep your body in constant motion and moving. And this is a routine for you when it comes to your self-care as a business owner. So what I would do is go for a walk for at least 30 minutes. I would set this as a recurring task for every single day. How do we actually do that? I'm going to tap on it. I'm going to hit the eye, and this is where the automation comes in. I'm going to set up a time. I like to go and walk at 6 a.m. in the morning, right? It starts today, but also I want to have it repeated, and it can be on the weekdays, it can be weekends, it could be weekly, bi-weekly, monthly. You got these options, and you can also do custom. I would say weekdays. So every day from Monday to Friday, I am reminded to go for my walk, and I want Apple to remind me an hour before because I'm up an hour before, and I hit on done. All right, tap on OK. All right, so it's notifying me that today is actually the start day. But let me show you something. When you go into your calendar though, notice that option is appearing every single day on the weekday. Go for a walk, weekdays, go for a walk, weekdays, go for a walk. So it's important. It's going to keep adding that every single day until you cancel it. So this is how you actually automate, and this can be running. You can adjust the timings. If you find that you can't walk at 6 in the morning, you might need to walk at 6 p.m. in the afternoons. That is a great way for you to adjust your time. So that is how you would use reminders and automation inside of it. And you can also ask Siri to, and the reason why I'm saying it because I have multiple devices that will be activated by her. But you can use Siri to help you with the reminders as well, and you can tell her what list to put into it. And so one of the other things I want you to remember when it comes to this, you can also have a reminder that states, well, okay, check off tasks each day. All right. And again, you can have this running. Let's say you stop work at 6 p.m. every day. You can have this run every weekly, or you can bi-weekly, but I would say every day, weekdays at 6 p.m. And it's going to remind you every day at 6 p.m. to check off the tasks to see what is working on what you've done, what you will need. If you're not able to complete a specific task within a specific time, you can literally go back in, maybe change the dates and the time so you're able to execute. And so in this way, you are creating a structure for your day using Apple reminders. If you've been struggling to stay consistent with content because everything feels unorganized, this simple Apple reminders system will change how you work. No more scattered ideas, no more wasted time. If your ideas aren't the problem, it's your workflow. If content creation feels overwhelming, it's time to simplify the process with the Creative Flow Kit. This plug and play system gives you the exact tools and templates to plan, organize, and create content effortlessly without burnout. If you want more details on how you can get your kit, click the link in the description.